Stop taking meeting notes and let ClickUp AI Note Taker do it for you. It allows you to focus on your meeting.
Alright everybody, so we are moving on to typecasting. Typecasting is the process of converting a variable from one data type to another. We have various functions to convert a value or variable to a string, an integer, a float, or a boolean. Let's create some variables. We will create a name variable. Type in your full name. An age, make up some age. A GPA for grade point average, let's say minus 3.2. And a boolean of is student. Are we currently a student? Let's say that's true. Now, you actually could get the data type of a variable or a value by using the type function. Then pass in a value or variable. However, when I run this, there's no output. So I need a print statement. We will print what is returned by the type function. Get the type of our name variable, then print it. So our name variable is a string, str. Our age variable is an integer, an int. GPA is a float. Is student is a boolean. Using these typecast functions, we can convert from one data type to another. Here's how. Let's start with something simple. Let's convert our GPA to an integer. Currently it's a float. I will reassign GPA, use the int function to typecast to an integer, then pass in my GPA. At the end, we will print our GPA. If we typecast 3.2 to a whole integer, what would the result be? A whole integer of 3. We truncate the decimal portion. Let's convert our age to a floating point number. We will reassign our variable of age, use the typecast function of float, then insert our age variable. Let's print our age variable, and it should be a floating point number, 25.0. Now we'll cover strings. Let's typecast our age to be a string. Age equals, call the typecast function of string, str, pass in our age variable. So the result is still going to appear the same, 25. However, it's a string, not an integer. And to prove that, I will enclose my age variable with the type function. The type of variable age is a string. It would be the same as if we're taking this number and enclosing it within quotes. So this would make a difference because let's say that I add 1 to age. Age plus equals 1. Well, we would get a type error. Can only concatenate strings, not integers, to a string. However, if I were to add a string of 1 to the end, we would be using string concatenation. So let's say it's my birthday, and I add 1 to 25. Well, since we're working with strings now, the result would be 251. I am 251 years old. So, strings and numbers behave differently. With numbers, we can use them within arithmetic expressions. Strings, not so much. We will take our name variable and typecast it to a boolean. Name equals, call the typecast function of bool, pass in our name variable. This has an interesting result. So I'm going to print name. Booleans are either true or false. If I typecast my string of text into a boolean, that gives me true. Now it really doesn't matter what I write here. If I were to change my name to a single character such as B, this would still be true. If our string variable was empty, there were no characters within it, that would actually give us false. We could use this to check to see if somebody enters in their name or not. If somebody types in their name, then we typecast it to a boolean. If somebody skips entering in their name, that would return false. we could reprompt the user to enter in their name again. Alright everybody, so that is typecasting. It is the process of converting a variable from one data type to another. This is especially useful with handling user input, because user input is always a string. There may be at times where you want to convert it to an integer, a float, or a boolean. And well everybody, that is typecasting in Python. Alright everybody, in this topic I'm going to show you how we can accept user input in Python. We use the input function. It's a function that prompts the user to enter in data, and it returns the entered data as a string. Here's an example. To accept user input, we will call the input function. When I run this program, we need to enter in data to our console window, like so, then hit enter. However, we need a prompt. We need to tell the user what we want them to type in. So let's ask a question. Our prompt will be within quotes. Let's say, what is your name? Let's try this again. What is your name? I can type in something. Why don't you go ahead and type in your full name? Then hit enter. Now with this input, we're not quite doing anything with it. The input function is going to return some data as a string. We can assign it to a variable if we would like. Let's create a variable of name. Name equals our user input. Then once we have our name, let's print a message. I'll use an f-string. We will print hello, add a placeholder, then insert our name variable within that placeholder. Let's try this. What is your name? Type in your name, hit enter, hello, whatever your name is. Let's try a different name. I will pick SpongeBob. Many people are familiar with SpongeBob. Hello, SpongeBob. This time, we will ask a user how old they are. Let's assign a variable of age equals accept some user input. We need a prompt within quotes. How old are you? Once we have our age variable, let's print, I'll use an f-string, you are, add a placeholder, our variable age, years old. What is your name? Type in your name. How old are you? Let's say that I'm 25. Hello, whatever your name is. You are, whatever your age is, years old. Alright, so let's say that it's our birthday. Before we print our age variable, let's say, happy birthday. Since I'm not inserting any variables within this print statement, this doesn't need to be an f-string. You'll want to use an f-string if you want to insert variables. Before we display the user's age, let's take the user's age and increase it by 1. We could say age equals age plus 1. But there's one problem with this. Type in a name. How old are you? Type in an age. And we have a problem. We have a type error. Can only concatenate strings, not integers, to strings. When we accept user input, we store that input as a string. Before we increment our age by 1, we'll need to convert it to an integer. We can't normally use strings within arithmetic expressions, but we can do that with integers and floats though. After we accept some user input for our age variable, we could take our age variable and typecast it as an integer, which we talked about in the previous lesson. So let's say age equals our age after we typecast it, then increment it by 1. So type in your name, type in an age, and we get this message. Hello, your name, happy birthday, you are, whatever your age is, years old. So strings we can't normally use with arithmetic expressions. We would have to typecast it to an integer or a float. However, we could condense some of these steps. We're taking up an extra line to typecast our age as an integer. What we could do instead is that when we accept our user input, we can enclose the input function within a typecast to int, and that would work the same. Type in your name, type in an age, and this works the same. And it takes less lines of code, and is more readable, I would say. When we accept user input, it returns that input as a string data type. Then we just have to typecast it to another data type if we need to. And in this case for age, we do. Now we'll go over a couple exercises, because it's important to practice what you've learned. In this first exercise, we're going to calculate the area of a rectangle. We need to prompt the user to enter in a length and the width of a rectangle. So we will create the length for arithmetic is the area. As I need to test 5 centimeters, can't multiply sequence by non-integer of type string. When we accept user input, it returns a value of the string data type. We can't use those strings in arithmetic expressions. We're multiplying the length times the width. We would need to typecast them as an integer or a float. Since we're working with basic geometry, such as calculating the area, let's do float. So let's typecast our user input as a float for both length and width. Okay, let's try this again. Let's say 5 times 6. The area that's returned to us is 30.0. This result contains a decimal. It's a floating point number, a float.
Work goes smoothly when you know the right steps. With Asana, you can coordinate tasks across teams and stay on track, so your team can spend more time celebrating wins. Try it for free at asana.com.
So when we print the area, I'll use an F string this time. The area is, I'll add a placeholder, display our area variable, with area2 window add 0178. So we have a superscript of 2. Again, it's not really necessary for this lesson. I just think it'd be cool to include it, because then it's technically accurate. Alright, let's say that the length is 6, because shopping cart program. Exercise 2. We're going to create a shopping cart program. We need 3 variables, an item, a price, and a quantity of those items. we will create a variable of item. What input might have as a full accept so many quantities. Then we take the t price 5p wing. I'll use an f string. Display item. We will print. I'll use an f string again. Your total is display our total. What item would you like to buy? I would like to buy a pizza. What is the price? $10.99. How many would you like? I would like 9 pizzas. They're all for me. I'm gonna eat all of them. You have bought 9x pizzas. Your total is 98.91. Let's add a unit of currency before this. Pick unit of currency before displaying the total. I'll pick American dollars. $9.12. Total is 1 to accept user input in Python, and that is how to accept user input in Python. Alright everybody, in this video we're going to create a game of Mad Libs. Not because we have to, but because I want to. It would be a good exercise for us, just so we're more comfortable with accepting user input. If you're not familiar with Mad Libs is a word game where you create a story by filling in the blanks with random words. So we're going to create a story template. The story is going to be missing some components. We will fill in those components with random words that we type in. Here's a story that I've written myself. Print, use an f string. Today I went to a, insert a placeholder, zoo. For our placeholder, we'll insert an adjective. We'll insert a variable named adjective. Adjective 1. You're going to get an English lesson today too. An adjective is a description of something. So for our zoo, adjective 1 could be expensive, large, dirty. An adjective describes something. We'll fill this in when we accept user input. For our second print statement, let's print the following. In an exhibit, I saw a placeholder. We'll include a noun. Noun 1. A noun is a person, place, or thing in English. Maybe a gorilla. A gorilla named Harambe, for example. Print, use an f string. Let's say our noun 1, whatever this is, we can reuse variables, was, we will create a second adjective, adjective 2. We will be describing whatever noun 1 is, this person, place, or thing. And we will insert a verb, verb 1. A verb is an action, such as running or eating. Then for our last statement, let's print I was, add a placeholder. We'll create adjective 3. Adjective 3 will describe us. Now we're going to fill in these variables by accepting user input. We're going to fill in adjective 1. We'll accept user input using the input function. Enter an adjective. I'm going to add a reminder that an adjective is a description of something. Then we need noun 1. Noun 1 equals input. Enter a noun. A noun is a person, place, or thing. Then we have adjective 2. I'll just copy adjective 1, paste it, change 1 to 2. Then a verb. Verb 1 equals input. Enter a verb. I want verb 1 to be in current tense. I'll ask the user to end the verb with ing. Enter a verb ending with ing. Then it's current tense. Our person, place, or thing of noun 1 is currently doing something, such as eating. And then adjective 3, and I'll just copy one of these adjectives. Adjective 3 equals input, enter an adjective. Okay, and then we are ready to run this. Enter an adjective. An adjective describes something. I will say suspicious. Or some kids like to say sussy, or sus even. I've also heard of kids nowadays using the word skibbity. Feel free to type in whatever you would like. It is your story, after all. I'm gonna say suspicious. Enter a noun, a person, place, or thing. I like to poke fun at Mark Zuckerberg, so I'm gonna say my person is Mark Zuckerberg. Enter an adjective. That is a description. Angry. Enter a verb ending with ing, so it's current tense. Screeching. Enter an adjective. Happy. Here's my story. Today I went to a suspicious zoo. In an exhibit, I saw a Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg was angry and screeching. I was happy. That's our game of Mad Libs. It's a word game where you create a story by filling in the blanks with random words. Also, post the output of your Mad Libs game in the comments section down below because I really want to read them. I want to see what you guys came up with. And well, everybody, that is a Mad Libs game using Python.
Did you know you can AFK Bloods and Zaya whilst learning to code in Python? Go to boot.dev.
Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to show you all of the different math that we'll need throughout the rest of the series. I have a lot to cover, and I'll split this video into different sections. We'll cover some basic arithmetic operators,